To reach financial freedom, there are two ways to actually get there. There's one path of having a large lump sum of money and another path of generating so much money that you'll just be free to do whatever you want. So in this video, I'm going to break down both paths and show you the benefits of each and which path I'm currently choosing to reach financial freedom. So starting with the first path, it's going to be building a large nest egg. So this path is going to require you to save and invest consistently for multiple years. And this could be upwards of 30 years or so, depending on where you're at on your journey. If you've already been invested, then you will probably be much further ahead. But this method is generally based off having retirement accounts like Roth IRAs, 401ks, ETFs, and S&P 500 investments. Just more of a long-term, safer investments that are going to be from 20 to 30 years later down the future. And most people that choose this path are going to have a goal of $1 to $3 million invested by the time they retire, which then they're going to be hoping to live off the 4% rule, which is just them withdrawing 4% of their investing portfolio to cover their expenses. And this is better for people who want a more predictable and safer path to reaching their financial goals. So if you have a longer time horizon, right, it's just pretty much going to depend on how much you want your expenses to be whenever you retire. So the less you can live off, the less you're going to need to actually retire, which is why I said $1 to $3 million saved up or invested. And if you want to take this path to reach financial freedom, then the cons are pretty much going to be a longer time horizon between the time you retire and where you're at right now. And it also might mean that you might be stuck at your 9 to 5 until the time you retire, since you're probably not going to be taking on as much risk like starting your own business or just going out on your own, which is going to be the limiting factor on how much you can invest per year, since you're probably going to be stuck on a salary year to year. And another thing that people fail to realize is inflation. So if you factor in investing into the S&P 500 for 30 years, right, inflation at a 3% rate is going to be 30% by that time. So even though if your portfolio is at $1 million or $3 million, you're still going to have a lot less buying power in 30 years. So that's something that you have to factor in. And then also you're going to have a stricter control on your budget whenever you reach retirement, since you're going to be withdrawing 4%, and that's essentially like living off a salary, because withdrawing 4% of $1 million is still going to be $40,000 that you're going to have to live off of each year. And even if your portfolio reaches $3 million, that's going to be $120,000 that you're going to have to live off of. So in essence, having a salary in your retirement ages could potentially be a bad thing, just depending on the type of person that you are. So if you have a longer time horizon and you want to wait until retirement and you don't want to take on that much risk, then this probably would be the best way for you to go. Now moving on to the next path, which is going to be increasing your cash flow. So essentially, instead of building a large nest egg, you just produce enough income to cover your life. Now, this path is going to require you to build your income through businesses, side hustles, real estate, or just even skills. And this is going to get you to financial freedom a lot faster than building a nest egg if you actually execute. And it's also going to mean that you have a lot more capital to invest every single month into yourself or your assets to actually produce more income. So as long as you're able to increase your income and also widen the gap between how much you spend, then this method would probably be the best way to go. Like, to put this in better terms, compare yourself to working a 9 to 5 job to where you're capped at making $4,000 a month. And let's just say you're able to invest $2,000 a month, then that $2,000 a month is literally all that you have to invest, compared to if you're able to increase your income to $15,000 a month. Let's just say you're able to save 50% of that, then that means you have $7,500 to invest every single month, regardless if your expenses go up. So you could just see how, since you're going to be able to invest more if you actually increase your income, how you can reach financial freedom a lot faster. And then at that point, if you even choose to go this route, right, and you're able to increase your income, then you'll just have a lot more freedom in terms of buying whatever you want, since that way you don't have to follow a stricter budget, since you're going to keep increasing your income. Like, buying a brand new car, if you're making $20,000 a month, isn't necessarily going to hurt you if you're making that amount of money. But just like everything, if you choose to go this path, it's still going to have its cons. The first con is going to be that it's a lot harder to achieve. You're going to have to take on a lot more risk, and it just might be overwhelming trying to achieve this. And then the second con is that you're going to have to be more consistent. It's going to require you to go through a lot more failures. You're also going to have to learn how to sell and make people want to pay for your services. And then you're going to have to build some skills on top of that. And then the third thing is that your income is going to be a lot less predictable if you're not willing to take on the risk and go through a lot of failures. Since growing your income isn't going to happen overnight, it's going to be a steadily improvement over time. And that's something that you have to be willing to take on. So if I just open up your mind in terms of what way you want to reach financial freedom, then leave a like on this video, as it shows me that you guys really like videos like this, and comment down which path is the right one for you. And now let's talk about which path I'm currently going to choose. So which path am I going to choose in terms of reaching financial freedom? Me personally, I think the best path to reaching financial freedom for me is actually the cash flow path. Now, this is mainly because I have a goal of retiring early. I don't want to wait until I'm 50 years old or 65 years old, right? Whenever the retirement ages are. Like, I'm not in a rush to reach financial freedom. I want to reach it as soon as possible, hopefully before I turn 40 years old. So with that being said, I just don't want to limit myself to how much I'm able to invest, since over the past year, every single month, I've only been able to invest $1,500 to around $2,700 to $3,000 every single month. I want to be able to invest a lot more than that. And just working a 9 to 5 isn't going to allow you to do that, since you're going to be stuck on how much you can make and possibly even small raises every single year. Like, having a cap on how much you can make is literally one of the biggest things, since income is one of the biggest wealth drivers, because if you're able to control how much you can invest every single month, then that's just going to boost your journey to reach financial freedom. And then not only that, once you reach that point, you're always going to have for the rest of your life the skill to produce more income. So if you want to justify buying a brand new car or just getting a bigger house, and you know how to increase your income to afford that house, then that's just a win-win in terms of my book. So yeah, personally, if you can control how much you make, then I think it's justifiable buying whatever you want. So just make sure you figure out which path you're willing to take. Make sure that you understand both journeys and the pros and cons to each, and figure out a strategy on how you're going to reach your financial freedom, like I said. And if you want to figure out the best investments that you could possibly make to speed up the process, then you can click somewhere right here, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know which path you're willing to take, and I'll see you guys soon.